Hello, Miss Lisa. We're finally doing a video on your car. I mean, we've done some in the past, you know, like, oh, this is what it is, and me kind of driving it and stuff, but this is going to be the actual tear down of the car. Now, Mike had started on this car today before I came in, so I couldn't do a little bit like the before and after, but I'm going to show you what's been done. So it came down, and since Mike had already started, we just jumped on it, and this is what's been done. All the glass is out of the car. Front glass, back glass, side glass, all the trim, well, door trim, door handles, stripping it all down, bagging, tagging, so we can get it put in your parts room, and we're gonna hit this thing hard. Now I've always called this car Dorothy. It was named after my grandmother, and if you want to change the name, I'm not, like, oh, you got to keep this name, but that lady was very, very dear to me. I considered her my mother, and her name was Dorothy, obviously, but also Kansas car Dorothy, Wizard of Oz. Do I need to say more? But this thing's gonna go probably pretty fast. And just so all the fans know, that Lisa knows what's kind of going on with her car and stuff, but the car was an original 327, factory 4-barrel, had the turbo 400 12-bolt rear end, and so this engine actually runs really good. Looks really old and stuff because it's all original, but runs like a top. And so we're going to pull this engine out. We're going to put all new gaskets and seals in it, new oil pump, new timing chain, new intake, new carburetor. We had actually put the HEI on this so we could have it running for Lisa. Long story on that, but anyway, new plug wires, the whole 9 yards, new radiator, everything. And the inside's going to be firewall will all be painted. It'll look like a brand new car when we're all done. So body, obviously, this is supernatural, guys, so it'll all be put back in its gloss black paint. One of the things that I do get asked about paint code on the car, just ask for tuxedo black. That was the 67, not really the paint code, but that's what GM called it back in 67. And black is black. I mean, Ford called it probably midnight black, or Dodge could have called it coal black or whatever, but black is black unless it's got metal flake or pearl in it. And but the correct name for it was tuxedo black for this year car, and that's what we use. So that's just a little bit of everything, a little bit of info. Seats are coming out. In fact, they're almost unbolted and stuff, so they'll be able to pull out really easy. We're going to obviously a little bit of metal work. The front glass, so these things are always rotted on these cars. This car is zero rot, and it's just dirt and crap you see in there from 50 plus years, but this thing was nice. And then in the back glass, this down here is actually all real solid. Like I said, this is just dirt kind of piled up in there, but in the corners down here, I don't know if you can see it, it's rotted right in there. And then up the side of this is rotted. So what I'm going to have to do, instead of me and Mike, have Mike trying to patch this and stuff, save time, I'm going to get my buddy Casey, and I'm just going to have him make this whole section right here. So if you guys ever need, like, these cars are notorious back here, and this car's in really good shape, and it just goes to show you, hey, the furnace turned off. And you can see those holes in there. So Casey will just remake this whole thing. Mike will weld it in. And then the corners, let me go over here so you guys can see this, hopefully, but see that hole down in there? So we'll have Casey remake that. Now the top, and then for this side, all good. And then down here, really where this usually rots out, solid as a rock. So the corners, bottom corners, and then that whole side over there, that'd be the right side of the car, rear glass. We're going to replace that whole panel or section. And then we're going to keep the original headliner in this car because it was in really good shape and it just saved Lisa money. And so we're just going to re-dye everything. The door panels were in fantastic condition. We're just going to dye them, put new carpet. New carpet will go in the car. We'll put the correct deluxe pedals in them, which will have the chrome trim and all that stuff. And like I said, this thing will be Dean's car 100%. And this is going to be like the earlier season's car before they went over to the big block car. Now, the great thing about this is somewhere down the line, if the engine lets loose or Lisa just goes, you know what, I just won the lottery, or I just came in some money, or I'm just, I want more power. All I have to do is pull this small block and drop that big block right in. And you can take the distributor right off this and put it right in that big block. And you don't have to do anything special to change that. So that is like because the radiator and everything will be the exact same. We use the same radiator for the small blocks as we do the big blocks. Now on the factories, can you do that? Can you use a small block radiator in a big block? You can, not recommended because it's probably that engine's going to get hot. But, and there's a long story on that, which I will divulge here on another video. But for this car, like I said, we use the same radiators and through all of our builds. And the reason for that is they are just outstanding radiators. And I want to use outstanding products. Now, the radiator that we use, is that screen accurate? No. But that's where I'm going to draw a line because I don't want somebody's car overheating and stuff like that. Now, if you wanted, you could paint the top of the radiator black. Here, let's go over to Miss Nadine's car since the hood's off. And we'll just look at a radiator. So there's the radiator that we use. And we could actually paint that up black, if you really wanted. I don't know how well, it would probably have to use a self-etching primer and stuff. But this radiator by ECP is rated up to 750 horse. And none of these cars that are leaving this shop have 750 horse. The one that's going to have the most horsepower is our special car over here. We'll take a look at this engine. And I'll explain the significance why this car is so special. But this car was turned in to 100%, I repeat, 100% supernatural. We did things that I don't like doing to these cars because in my mind, the shop that built like Hero 1, pardon my French here, but they fucked up a lot of stuff. And I don't want that going into customers' cars because it's going to create problems down the road. Jensen's car that he has in Texas is not right, guys. That thing, there's secrets on that car that Jensen doesn't know. That thing needs to be changed in some aspects. Now, I'm going to go over that later, but this car here, every little bit, nut and bolt, is identical to Hero 1. This entire car, the entire car, and there'll be, like I said, a video on that. But this one actually has the stock radiator in it, and we'll go over that when I do this video. So, coming back over here to Lisa's car, it's going to have the small block in. It's going to match the small block will be painted black. That's how it was in the early seasons. It'll have the correct valve covers, the correct intake, the correct air cleaner, everything. Be updated to disc brakes. We're going over with the tubular A-arms, and that way this car will handle and drive like a dream. And so it'll be good things that are coming to this car. And I know Lisa's been dying for a video on the car. We have our other cars back here that we've been doing, but we've just gotten to a point where we can't really do anything until some other parts come in. So with that, we're like, hey, Lisa, do you want to get going on this car? And she was like, absolutely, let's go. And so that's what we're doing. So probably the next things that we'll be doing here is these seats will be coming out. We're going to pull stuff off the dash. We're going to get it all sprayed, spray the headliner. I'm going to come in, do the package tray and everything. And then start putting it all together. Michael started on the bodywork. Mike even said this car is not going to take long on the bodywork because she was so solid. And I think the worst place on this whole car was right back here on that, and Mike's, that's an easy patch. So this thing is so superb, this car. There's a lot of people that said, oh, I really wish I would have bought that car. I'm like, yeah, you should have. Because really, the parts that came with it, I mean, just as the car by itself was worth what I asked for it, but then the car came with so much more. And it went to the right person. Lisa she's a doll. She's down in Florida. She's really, this is the crazy thing. Lisa is right next to my brother Jameson. She's right next to Travis Purdue. She's right next to John Candela, who has Sammy down there. So we're going to be building Travis Purdue's Impala. And so there's going to be like this group of, cars that are like all right next to one another. I mean, like literally like probably a stone's throw from one of each other's houses. And I think that's just so awesome. So if anybody's going to do a supernatural thing, they ought to do it down there because there's 4 cars that are just, awesome. And Jameson built his own car, and that thing is tits. So anyway, Lisa, you're going to be in good company. And like I said, me and Mike are going to start hitting heavy. As you can tell, things are being done, and this car will go relatively pretty fast. Unless we just run up to something like where we order something, if we have to order something and it's for some reason not there, and sometimes it's the little basic bullshit stuff that can poke us in the butt, but we'll find out. I am not seeing anything that goes, oh, I wish we should have bought that, or I think we got everything. So just a matter of lots of elbows grease and sweat, and that's it. I'm just putting it into this car, massaging it out so she's straight as an arrow, and because there's these little door dings and stuff. I mean, the car's 50-some years old, and my God, you got door dings from parking lots and stuff like that, but everything else, it's gonna be sweet, sweet, sweet. So I'll take some pictures, Lisa, for your album and get these over to you. But this is really kind of one of the first videos for your car, especially in the teardown process. And you'll have more. As more we get done, I'll do more videos and updates and all that stuff. So be talking to you soon. I hope you're excited. I hope the fans are excited to see this car come together. And we'll just start cracking on it. So talk to you guys later. Bye.